Hey, welcome back to the podcast, the Gotham and Beyond podcast. I'm your host, Vince. Hopefully, you're doing well out there. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about a game I ran the other day online, a GIJOE game for DC Heroes 3rd Edition. The players were two players who had contacted me, and they said they enjoyed the story that I told in the last episode, 2 episodes ago, I believe it was, about GIJOE, one of my old campaigns. And they said they wanted to play in a game like that if I'd be willing to run it. And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? So they rolled up two characters. They rolled up their two characters, and we jumped online, and I used a virtual tabletop just in case, or it wasn't really a virtual, it was Miro. I'm sure you've heard of Miro. If you're a solo role player, you've probably heard of it. If you do projects online, maybe your company uses it. It's kind of like a whiteboard virtual space that you could just draw things on and write things on. It's kind of like a virtual tabletop. But anyway, we connected to that, and I used that as kind of like a place that I could draw and place things out so they knew where things were. These two guys were pretty cool. They didn't want to record the episode. They just wanted to play, and I don't blame them because sometimes I just want to play too and not have to worry about recording everything. So we jumped into the game after they're making their characters up. They did it ahead of time. I trust players. I don't really care. I figured this would be just a one shot, but they did have a lot of fun with it, and they liked the Saturday morning cartoon spoof boof, things like that. So they wanted to run some more, so maybe we'll see some more episodes in the future. So this one, they made up two characters, like I said. One was called Brick, which I guarantee was based off of Heavy Duty or Roadblock, one of the two, because it was a big guy that liked to bust heads and, like to use heavy equipment. Big bazookas, things like that. So maybe it was Bazooka. Who knows? The other guy was Relay. He was more of a fix-it type guy, a quiet fix-it type guy, like a brilliant genius that knew martial arts type thing. So I started them down at the old marina, described the scene of the old marina for them. And their job was that Star Labs was going to have a box truck come into the dock with something in it that needed to be shipped out. This something in the truck was actually worth quite a lot. It was valuable. So their job was to basically protect this said box, make sure it gets on the ship and actually gets out. So that was what their job was for the evening. So they wanted to know what was in there, but the higher ups at Star Labs did not tell them what they were when they did this mission. They just told them that it was really important for them to get it done. In which they kind of moaned and groaned, but said, all right, whatever. So they went and they spoke to Duke about it, and Duke just said, well, we don't know what this shipment is. It's something we were tasked to do for GIJOE, so it's a government type thing, so just go do it. So they were just like, all right, whatever, Duke. Roadblock. Yeah, I want to call him Roadblock because he acted like Roadblock. But anyway, Brick was in charge. So first things first, they set up little kind of, they get down to the dock. It's early and dawn, maybe 5 in the morning, something like that, maybe 4. They set up. Brick gets on top of a building across from where the shipment was going to come in, like the gate area, and had a pair of binoculars looking around. Relay was pretending to be a dock maintenance person. He had a little cart. He was rolling around pretending to repair things. So we had eyes in the sky on the ground, and we also had an on-ground person. They were communicating via communication, devices, comms, so to speak. So think like what GIJOE did. They have these giant little radios on them with these weird earpieces with the long cords and everything. And not like, today when they're just kind of hidden in the ear and you don't even notice it. So the first thing that Brick does is he looks around and he notices that one of the dock workers is a little out of place. And when I say out of place, he kind of looks it over and does kind of his detective look at it. And he rolls a good amount of raps for that. I say the boots look new. The gloves are clean. He's got some wrong safety stickers on his uniform. And so he was out of place. So Brick was like, all right, well, we're going to keep an eye on him. He relayed down to relay. Why did I say it like that? Anyway, he calmed down to relay to tell him about the worker to keep an eye on him. So suddenly, I said the two vans kind of pull up. And then you see on the horizon in the water, a small fishing boat starts pulling into the dock area where the shipment was supposed to be transported to. And Brick wanted to take a close look at the ship, and he noticed that the ship was a little too clean, to be honest. And then he noticed that Firefly was standing on the bow of the boat. Just standing there, tapping his hands on the rail. And he's like, oh, crap. As soon as the boat docked, he just waved his hand. The troopers jumped out in single file. Suddenly, a forklift appears out of nowhere that is not scheduled, forks up. From the boat, Firefly tosses a kind of like a winch type cable. The plan he was going to have is to walk the crate out of the truck and into the water. Brick drops from the roof and in a GIJOE style fashion cartoon area, snagging a flag rope, landing hard on the ground, and squares up in front of the forklift. The driver flinches and taps the brakes, slides the thing to the side a little bit, and is like, what the hell? Relay slips behind the truck, pops the latch for later on the truck, and then throws a canvas over the cable to try to, distract them. And what happens is the Cobras start firing as Firefly says, Joes, and, we got our typical little fight going on here in the area. Cobra pushes pressure on the two of them as they're firing back. The cable, during the middle of the battle, as they're, pretty much blowing things up and Cobra's jumping into the water because obviously they don't actually hit anybody. Brick kind of gets the cable from the ground and he wraps it around a post. And Relay tries to put a really tough knot into it so they can't get away. But the boat tries to get away with Firefly in it, but what happens is the cable sings and it grabs the boat and explodes as Firefly jumps out into the water. Firefly just kind of gets up and does a small circle with his finger and runs to the van area, trying to get away. They shoot at one of the vans. They wind up blowing up the van with the Cobras diving out. Firefly diving out at the last minute into the water and kind of goes missing under the water. They can't figure out what happened to him. Meanwhile, Firefly just gets away and swims because, that's usually what happens with G.I. Joe. The Cobra Troopers get arrested and taken into custody while Firefly gets away. The truck rolls out into the dock area, no problem. And the driver brings the shipment onto the proper boat. And Brick actually talks to the forklift guy, which they find out he was just doing his job. He was told to come in last minute for this shipment. It wasn't on the docket, so that's why they didn't know about it. So, Brick hands him Brick tries to console with him, hands him a water, and says, everyone has a bad morning here or there. I apologize. And, they did a quick debrief. Cobra was basically trying to get whatever this was. They really wanted to know what it was, but they never actually got a look. They just said top secret on the box. It was one of those old crates you'd see in the cartoon. It just says government top secret. So there might be a follow-up episode to this in the future. I'm not really positive on what I want to do as far as the game goes. They did have a lot of fun. I want to say the virtual tabletop Miro we were using. I wanted to use Owlbear, but it's so limited sometimes. And I hate Roll20 as well. So I could have used Foundry, but I didn't set it up in enough time. I just ran out of time. So we just use Miro, which is basically a replacement. If you used it with companies before, you probably know what it is. Just go to Miro. I think it's Miro.com offhand, and you can go check it out yourself. It's easy to draw on it. You can invite people and do collaborative work on it. So it made it a lot of fun because you can actually pull pictures from like Google and just drop it in there, and it modifies for you to use it. So I was dropping in pictures of cobras running around and stuff like that, little, a box and shipment and a boat on the dock area. So it was a lot of fun. Give it a try. So I don't know. Next time maybe we'll run another game. I'll recap that as well. I guess I'll call this one Night at the Dock. I don't know. Tell me what you think in the comments, or what you think of the episode. It was a fun time for all. I had a blast running this. I always have a blast running like goofy games like this, especially when it's G.I. Joe. Love G.I. Joe. I can never stop talking about G.I. Joe. You'll hear more about G.I. Joe in the future. With that said, I'm going to head out. Hopefully you have a great day.